Let's check in on the Libertarian National Convention. No, the 2024 convention.
Take him out! Take him out!
Not seen before, this will soon be happening. The competition is now slowing what we're ballooning healthcare expenses. Some sign right to try, terminally ill patients.
Free Starter! Free Starter! Free Starter! Free Starter!
And when advanced
Another classic Libertarian National Clown Show. Great job, guys. In fact, great job. Great job, Star Child. Great job, gay president. Good job. Another reason why you won't even get 3% of the vote this year. If you couldn't learn from Gary Johnson, how have we gone from Gary Johnson to Chase Oliver? You know, we went to Joe Jorgensen. What a joke that was. You didn't even learn from Joe Jorgensen? Get out of here. So glad I left the party in 2020. In 2018, I wrote a Gold New Deal to counter the Green New Deal by dumb AOC. And it included things like the Great Replacement, which, wow, imagine that's happening right now. It included things like election reform. Wow, weird, 2020 happened. I didn't know about that was going to happen, but I knew that we were vulnerable. Talked about, our borders, and I talked about how we need to get rid of this anarcho-capitalism and unify under a flag and actually become a party that is serious and willing to do what's necessary to protect the American people. And so I got laughed at for that. Excellent. So I went from the Democrat Party, to the Libertarian Party to I was partyless. And then I went to the Republican Party because at least I could see candidates, regardless of the establishment Republicans, at least there's candidates in the Republican Party that are serious people. Unlike the Libertarian Party, you will not find a serious candidate. You will not find a serious candidate. I will give $50. I will Venmo $50 to the first person who can send me a serious libertarian candidate. They don't exist, and this National Clown Show Convention is a perfect example.
They seldom see 3 Supreme Court justices in one presidential term.
You invite the former president, who is probably still the president, definitely still the president, because Joe Biden didn't win the election legitimately. You invite him there just so you can boo him and make a spectacle, and then you be trending on Twitter and tout that as a win. The Libertarian official Twitter account. Oh look, we're trending #1 on Twitter in politics. Yeah, for all the wrong reasons. Yes, we need to free Ross Albright, but when President Trump discusses liberating the January 6th hostages, which is a clear, doesn't matter where you stand, if you actually care about liberty and freedom and less government and doing right by the people, then you can't look at the January 6th hostages and think, oh, that's totally cool.
As everyone knows, it will be my great honor to pardon the peaceful January 6th protesters, or as I often call them, the hostages. They're hostages. There has never been a group of people treated so harshly or unfairly in our country's history. This abuse will be rectified, and it will be rectified very quickly. And if you vote for me on day 1, I will commute the sentence of Ross Ulbricht to a sentence of time served. He's already served 11 years. We're going to get him home. We're going to get him home.
But most libertarians do, because just like the left, just like the right, they are blinded by partisanship. They're blinded, just like the left and the right. The difference between them and the other ones is the other ones just say they aren't, or the other ones say they are. They know they are. The libertarians will act like we're the greatest political party since sliced bread, when really you're just government cheese. Because at every turn, you guys back the federal government, you back the state governments, you side with everybody else but the people. I lost everything because of vaccine and mask mandates. I couldn't find a place to work that wasn't going to hassle me. There wasn't one. Yet it's their private business's decision, even though they weren't given informed consent to mandate that stuff. And then the people aren't given informed consent, which is the foundational principle of the Libertarian Party, is informed consent. Yet they don't believe that because they're unserious. And here we have some examples. So I noticed a few accounts, all women, they are coming out in defense of Mrs. Chase Oliver. I don't know what he identifies as. Definitely doesn't identify as an American man, I'll tell you that. This is from Hannah Cox. This is not a pro-vaccine mandate stance. He explicitly says he is against government mandates. His position is that businesses can determine who they want on their property, whether that be a vaccine requirement or other criteria. It is a pro-property rights and pro-capitalism stance. Yeah, if you don't think it through. Damn right. If you just have a surface level understanding of it, great. And you know what? I would even argue that she isn't lying. It is a libertarian stance, and that's one of the many reasons why I left the party in 2020, and why every single one of you libertarians that value freedom, individual liberty, and the Constitution should do the exact same thing. Leave that worthless party. And then you got the redheaded libertarian in here, which, another woman. I've had a couple things with her too, but she's nailing it on the head here. This does not translate to mandates for their employees. Or excuse me. Jeez. This does translate to mandates for their employees, and a choice between body autonomy or feeding their families at the behest of a corporation. Exactly. It translates to mandates because you had to do it or you had to lose your job. And so imagine in this crappy economy, you have to switch jobs immediately and figure out how you're going to survive while you're changing jobs or finding a new job. Meanwhile, you can't get any benefits. You can't get any help. You lost your job because of the government and corporations pissing on your individual rights. But then Hannah D. Cox, almost doesn't even seem like a real account. Hannah D. Handy Cox. No one is forced to work anywhere. There's a whole lot of reasons I would choose not to work for an employer, and that would be on me. Under capitalism, you're free to move around, and if enough people refuse to work for someone with a given position, then that employer is forced to change their position due to market demands versus government ones. If you don't support that scenario, you're simply not a capitalist. Again, she is right. At a surface level. Because if you delve into it, do you think we live in a society filled with people intelligent even to comprehend what's going on here? No. We live in a society filled with people that don't even understand informed consent. They're doing whatever they're told. And so if 98% of the people in this country are ignorant, then that means corporations can take advantage of everybody. This looks like majority rule to me. See, we set up a constitutional republic, not a democracy. That's where the fallacy of all these morons. I got another idiot talking about that we need to remove the electoral college. That's another video. Idiot. But this whole fallacy that democracy and free market decides, it doesn't. We have a representative republic because people are corruptible. People are ignorant. Understanding of things ebbs and flows. And so to compensate for the ebbs and flows of human understanding, ignorance, and knowledge, the founders set up a concrete system called the Bill of Rights that says nobody, it doesn't mean just the government, nobody Nobody can take away your individual rights and freedoms. Another reason I left the Libertarian Party is because they're for big tech censorship, because they completely ignore the defensive aspects of these things. They don't understand what keeps a country. To have a libertarian paradise, you need to have a group of people that agree with that. And to have a group of people that agree with that, you have to have a country that has borders. Because not everybody's going to agree with you. But they're so up their own idealistic asses, they're theoretical physicist asses, that they can't understand that there's people in this world that want to destroy them. That would send millions of incompatible invaders into your country to muddy the voting waters, to muddy the waters of free market capitalism and choice. And so when you're forced to compete against 40 people that don't understand liberty, and the employer gets to pick between those 40 people or you, not only do you cost more, but you also have a brain, so you're not going to be as easily to follow orders. And they'll do whatever they want because they're freaking ignorant to their rights. And so now we're going to be replaced because we don't take a defensive stand against this crap. Libertarians will sell your children's future down the road because they won't take the adequate steps to protect you from fraud. The vaccine mandates were fraudulent. The companies giving you the mandates they were committing fraud upon you. They were telling you that it was safe and effective when it fucking was not. So what part of that is capitalism? Remember, libertarians, the biggest piece of your platform is informed consent. One of the only duties of government is to protect us from fraud and fraudulent practices. And you're going to sit here and tell me the NIH, the FDA, the CDC, who the fuck aren't defrauding us? You're going to sit here with your little dumbass handle, it's probably not even real, and patronize those of us who live in the real world? Let's continue with Miss Hannah Cox. They could. Remote work was booming. They could move. I left New York City and switched jobs during the pandemic in a large part due to these reasons. Others in these situations chose to stay and fight. They sued. They broke the law, and they opened against government's law and opened against government instructions. People had options. Those with gumption stuck to their principles and fought bank effectively. Bitch can't even talk. I can't read either, so it didn't help that I don't know how to read. And then the redheaded libertarian said, I moved to Florida in 2022 when the corporations began requiring vaccinated 6-year-olds. Yeah. I was lucky to be in a position to do that when so many were not. And then fucking Hannah Cox says, I don't call that luck. I call that gumption. People have agency. It's an important structure of our country that the states be set up as mini laboratories with people given the ability to freely move across them. Voting with your feet is an essential component of capitalist whatever the fuck. Blah, blah, blah. I'm a stupid ass bitch. And then Bommy32 says, it's like you missed 90% of COVID and woke up from a coma towards the end. Yeah, tone deaf idiot. Handling Cox. Handling D Cox. And then BK says, what about the people that trucked your groceries and went into the actual stores to make sure it could be delivered to you? Should they have all quit too? Yeah. What about all of us keeping society going? I was trying to fix your vehicles back then. Change your oil, replace your motor, your brakes, your tires, all this shit you wouldn't know how to do. That keeps your car going, keeps society running. What about me? Imagine if everybody had the nutsack that I did. You wouldn't have anybody working on your cars. Because they were all going to put a mask on and do what they're told. You're lucky they put a mask on and did what they're told. Your dumbass wouldn't have had food. Your dumbass wouldn't have had anywhere to do. Your dumbass wouldn't have had a car. Your dumbass wouldn't have had nothing. Yeah. I got my things to say about all the cowards that went along with COVID even though they didn't believe in it. But that doesn't mean they went along with it for no freaking reason, handling D Cox. Mr. Humphrey MC said, this is a textbook response without understanding of reality for normal people. Exactly. This is exactly why I know the libertarian positions to be indigestible for normies. Bro, just gumption harder. That's what Handling D. Cox said. Just gumption harder. Just, have some gumption and just fine. Shut up, man. You guys, libertarians are on step 10 of liberation. We're not even on step 1. We still have a lot of people in this country that believe the federal government is in their best interests. Libertarian Libertarian Trucker says, so you hate lower income people? Look up all the stats of the percentages of households that are 1 to 3 missed paychecks away from being homeless. Not everyone can podcast and continue as though nothing happened. Exactly. Yeah, imagine if you didn't have the ability to make money on social media. Imagine if you were just a normal person instead of Handling decox. Now, then we got another one here. Maggie. Liberty Anders. Not sure why people are bringing up this specific tweet to dogpile on Chase Oliver. This is a libertarian position on vaccine mandates. Give me a fucking break, bitch. Let's take a look at who Chase Oliver is. Well, before we get to Chase, we're going to get to some responses here on Maggie's tweet. This is from the Libertarian Party of Georgia. Absolutely no to vaccine mandates. Medical decisions should be between an individual and their doctor, not dictated down by politicians. Right. Dave Smith. The libertarian position is to end all COVID restrictions immediately. End all vaccine mandates and passports immediately and abolish OSHA immediately. Oh, sorry. These aren't responses. I looked up, this is a libertarian position on vaccine mandates, and this is what popped up. So this was in August 9th, 2021. So Maggie's a dipshit. Just like Handling D. Cox. And then here's from June 18, 2023, Libertarian Party of NH. Abolish all vaccine mandates and requirements. Abolish the FDA and all medical licensing. Let people voluntarily make their own medical decisions. See, now that sounds like the libertarian positions that I signed up for. Not protecting corporations' decisions to piss on the individual. You don't get it, libertarians. You don't get it. You just don't get it. Corporations are not people. Corporations do not have constitutional rights. They do not have constitutional rights. The only people that have constitutional rights are living, breathing humans, men and women. In 8 years, this has been the best opportunity for third parties, Libertarian Party, Independence, all. It's been the best opportunity for them to gain a market share from the two major parties. People didn't like Hillary Clinton. People didn't like Donald Trump. So they went independent. Yet, in 8 years, the libertarians haven't moved the needle a single inch. Why? Well, you can see it right here. They had their votes up there, who was nominated and everything. You got Chase Oliver with 60.61% of the vote. You got write-ins with 2.8% of the vote. And you've got nobody. You got nobody with 36.59% of the vote. Nobody. So in 8 years and 3 presidential elections, you still have 40% of your party voting for nobody. Why? Because you don't have a candidate that properly represents libertarians. Why? Because libertarians are not unified. The biggest reason I left that useless, worthless party was because I tried to unify it, and you can't. Because they don't want to be unified. They don't want to affect change. They want to gallivant around with boots on their heads, calling each other star children, and just doing whatever they feel is right, like a bunch of activists, like a bunch of unserious children in kindergarten is what they act like. While our children are being brutally indoctrinated, confused, their attention spans are being destroyed, their confidence is being destroyed. They're not taught to overcome adversity. They're not taught to grow up and be strong and be a contributing member. They're taught to be victims and whiners and racists. A bunch of racist kids. Because all they think about is race and gender. It's a clown's joke And to cap it all off, we got a bunch of grungy turds. That care not about liberty. Because if they cared about liberty in the Constitution, they would have cheered just as loud or louder for all of the J6 hostages. 99% of them are nonviolent, didn't do anything, no vandalism, nothing. They walked around in a public building with flags. But they can't even get raucous cheers. But a dude that set up a website so you could trade drugs, he gets a standing ovation. The libertarians don't care. They never cared. Could have had Javier Milei. That's what libertarians want. That kind of candidate. A crazy man with a chainsaw and a dream. Instead, what do they get? A rainbow-wearing, drag queen simping, mask adorning, pro-vaxxer. Look at this clown. Here's all the iterations of your candidate, your nobody. Just a little gay boy. In a time when we need men, you elect a little gay boy. So there you go, libertarians. There's your candidate. There's your hoorah. In a time when you had the perfect opportunity to capitalize on everybody hating the two major parties for good reason. The Republicans got the House of Representatives and nothing Republican comes out of there. And the Democrats, well, they're all just captured Marxist Looney Tunes. The Democrat Party needs to be destroyed. The Democrat Party will be destroyed. And you can't even take any voters? You can't gain any market share? Probably because of this kind of shit. So libertarians, I'll leave you with this. If you're tired of always losing, if you're tired of having little gay boys as your representatives, if you're tired of being patronized by star children and unserious people, there is hope. Visit usaroc.org. usaroc.org. The Republican Originalist Caucus. The most libertarian platform that has ever been put out there. Even more so than any libertarian platform before it. Join us. Join the fight to save this country. Join the fight to save individual liberty. Thank you.